So week one, this is week one, right? We have 8 weeks of the entire session. So first week, what are we going to cover today? So we are, first of all, we'll talk about the course structure, how the course has been designed, right? What are the things to be taken care of, right? And all those information will provide it to you today. Next, second point which you will get today is how you can take full advantage of this course, right? What are the things you have to take care of? What are the things you have to do so that you get a maximum output from this course? Number three, we'll talk about the design and the tech industry, right? So it is foremost important for every aspirant to understand where we stay, right? Where we are, which industry we belongs to, right? If you understand that, then your base is ready, right? And then on that base, you can build up a lot of things. So we'll talk about design and tech industry. Then we'll talk about careers in UX, and then we'll talk about most common pitfalls while preparing for career in UX design, right? Basically, what we are going to give you today is we'll explain you the entire course structure, which will make you understand as to how you can take advantage of this course. Cool, awesome. Okay, so the course structure. How does the course structure look like? What are we going to talk about on this 8-week long journey? It's probably a 2 months journey, right? So every Saturday we comes online at 8 p.m. IST. That will be, I think, 10:30 a.m. EST, and we will give a live session like this. And before that, we have a pre-read. I'll come to that. I'll explain you about that also. So the course structure for the 8-week is something like this. The entire course is divided into 8 weeks. All right. So there are 8. Each week we will discuss one topic. So week one, this is the week one. This is the first week, and we are going to talk about course introduction, which I am giving you right now. Right. We'll talk about the course itself, right, and the industry, the career in UX, why we should choose UX, and all this stuff. Next week is pretty important because next week on a lot of things which will happen, right? So from next week onwards, we're going to talk about what exactly is design, right? This is very important. I've seen in my 8 years of career, I've seen people, or I've seen UX designer, calling themselves as a designer, but the knowledge of design is not there. They don't understand what design is, which is heartbreaking for me. To understand, they are calling themselves designer, but they doesn't understand what design is. It's very important to understand what exactly is design, from where design has come into picture, right? We'll talk about the history of design. In week 2, we're going to talk about the history of design. How does design has evolved over time, and what design currently is, right? So we're going to talk about that in depth. So when next time, after you're attending this session on week 2, next time when somebody asks you what you are, you can proudly say, I am a designer. And because you understand what design is, right? So the second week focus is what exactly is design, how design is defined, and how does design come into existence. Week 3, this is again important. So we'll talk about UX. So week 2 we covered design, and week 3 we'll cover what exactly is user experience design, right? So what exactly is UX design? So once you know what design is, it's pretty easy for you to understand what UX design is. All right, this is how the structure has been. Then we'll talk about design frameworks. This is very important. Design frameworks will help you with your design process, right? We'll talk about double diamond. We'll talk about design thinking. We'll talk about user-centric design. We'll talk about human-centric design. We'll talk about task-centric design. These are the frameworks which we're going to talk about, right? So once you know what is design, then you know what is UX design, and then you are going to learn about what are the different frameworks used inside UX design, right? This is how the foundation of your journey towards becoming a UX designer can be built, right? Then on week 5, we are going to talk about what exactly is user research, right? If you have seen the pre-read video which I have posted earlier, or it's there in the course, there's a process which has been defined, right? There is a 7-step process to do a user research. There are a lot of other things which we have to take care of in user research, right? we need to have empathy, which is the foremost thing. Whenever you're doing a user interview, you need to have the empathy, you need to have the understanding, or you need to understand the pain point of the user or the unsaid needs of the users. We will dive into that on week 5. We'll try to understand what kind of researchers are there, quantitative research, qualitative research, and what are the methods used in research, like user research, ethnographic surveys, when to use what, right? And how to bring out those unsaid needs, right? I'll give you an example of why user research and unsaid need is very important. You heard about Henry Ford, right? He was the mastermind of all the, or he's the mastermind behind Ford cars, right? So he quoted this one important point. He said, if I ask my user or my customer what they really want, they would have said that they need a faster horse rather than a car, right? So these are the unsaid needs. Henry Ford had found the unsaid needs of a car, and then he built the car. So you have to, you just don't follow the process in user research. What you do is you understand the you understand the unsaid needs, and how to dive into that. That will be taught on week number 5. All right, so next, week number 6, we're going to talk about how to prepare for a UX jobs interview, right? This has been a common thing for, if you have seen the last webinar also, I talked about this by saying that there are 2 problems which I found or I find whenever I took an interview, whenever I go for an interview with the candidate, right? One is that the basic foundation knowledge, it's there, but they cannot explain those concepts clearly, right? The other point is the confidence. They don't have the confidence as to whether I know everything about design or not, right? They get afraid by looking at the hiring managers. They think that, okay, he is well educated, or he knows well about design. If he asks some questions to me, I will not be able to answer. These are the lack of confidence they have, right? So I will talk about that on week 6, and will give you a clear understanding as to how you should prepare yourself for a UX job interview. Week 7, we will together start working on a project, right? So that can be posted in your portfolio, right? We will talk about how we should frame the problem statement, then how we can have the process listed down, and then how we will pitch our solution, right? And I'm going to talk about a lot here, because week 7 is more about practical. All the week before this till week 5, it's all about theory, right? It's all about knowledge sharing. It's all about reading and listening and getting those concept inside you, right? And then week 6, week 7 till week 8, you will do practicals, right? So week 7 is where you will start creating projects. And then week 8 will be next step. I'll explain you as to what next for you, as to once you're done with this course, the basic course, what are the next steps you should take, right? Where should you move into? Here, week 8 is pretty important in the sense of by going through all this week till week 1 to week 7, you have to come out with one subset of UX which you like the most, right? Why it is important? It is important because when you start applying jobs, or when you start preparing your portfolios, you have to focus your aspirations to be displayed in your portfolio, right? So week 8, we're gonna talk about that a lot. So this is how the 8 weeks have been structured. It gives you the entire foundation knowledge of UX design. Okay, so this is how the structure is. This is how the structure of the course is. So 8 weeks, 8 different topics we'll discuss. And then each week is further divided into 2 lessons. If you have logged in, you will see this. One lesson is, lesson 1 is the pre-read, where I post a lot of blogs, articles, or videos so that you can get started with the week's topics, right? And lesson 2 contains the link of the week's live session, right? If you go to week 2 now, you will see this screen there, wherein week 2 pre-reads will be there and week 2 live session link will be there. This aren't available yet. We will make this available, I think, next week, early next week, and you will get an email from us by saying the pre-reads, week 2 pre-reads are available, and you should go and read those pre-reads, right? So when I was designing the course, when I was making this course, I applied my designer's hat for this, right? Why do we need this kind of course, right? Why do we need pre-reads? Now, pre-reads very important, all right? I'll tell you how human, remember or store information in the brain, in the mind, all right? This is one interesting topic for all of you. Psychology comes here. So when you first time read something, right, what your brain does is the brains create a schema, right? It creates a schema, and it remains there in your brain. And next time when you read the same topic or the same concept, that schema start to become bigger, right? As and when the schema gets bigger and bigger, that's how you remember the things. The bigger the schema is, the deep the memory would be. All right. Hence, I've designed this in this way that you can read the pre-reads. Your schema is created by reading or watching that video. Then you come to the live session, and I'll talk about the same thing. So your schema becomes stronger and stronger, and you can remember things. So it's very important that you should go back, and you should always come for a live session after reading the pre-reads, after watching the videos or reading the blog which I'll share or the articles which I will share, right? This will help you to clear up all the design jargons if I speak about also. All right, so this is how each week is been divided into. Okay, so let's come to point number 2 now, as to how you can take full advantage of this course, right? This is very important. You definitely need something out of this course, right? And this is how you can take full advantage of this course. First, unlearn everything about UX design. Now, why this is important? You are in a journey to learn something, right? Now, if you already have some learning about UX design, this might create cognitive dissonance inside your brain, right? You might be in stage 3 of learning, and what I'm doing right now is teaching you from level 1, right? What happened is that you might think that I know everything about this thing, what Vikas is talking about, so I should skip this. And in the process, what happened? Some important topics might get missed out, right? So come with a beginner's mindset. Now, this is the first important aspects of being a designer. So you should always approach whatever you're doing with a beginner's mindset. That's the first core principle of design thinking as well. So you approach this course from a beginner's perspective, from the beginner's mindset, right? Just unlearn everything, or just keep it there. Do not match your level of skills with the level of knowledge which I am sharing here. This is first important thing, right? And then you will be able to understand the very basic concept of UX design. Now, why do you need to understand the very basic concept? Like, before building the house, right, you need the pillars to be stronger. If the pillars are not stronger, the foundations are not stronger, then your building might collapse, right? So it's very important that you understand the basic thing. Just, like I told you, that week 2 is where we're going to talk about design. That's the foundation thing which you have to bring into your UX design skill set. And on top of the design knowledge, we'll build the UX design knowledge. That's how your foundation will become stronger. Okay, so unlearn everything about UX design and come with a beginner's mindset for this course. This way you can take full advantage of this course. Read or watch all the blogs, videos which are posted in pre-reads. Now, pre-reads are specially curated content for you all, for each week's topic, right? Read it, watch the videos which has been placed there. It will give you lots of knowledge. Okay, some blogs, some articles, or some post will be so informative that it will open up your mind. So do that. Number 2, read or read the pre-reads or watch the videos which they're prepared. Number 3, please take notes as and when we start talking about different new topics. You might get lost, in the discussion or in the course. So take notes, whatever you find it interesting or you find it confusing. Put a note of it, and then you can ask us after the session, or you can connect me on my social channels, and then get those things sorted out. All right. So make notes, and making notes also help you remember things quite deeper. All right. So fourth point is start learning the tools such as Figma or XD, because I am not going to cover the tool part here in this course. What I suggest is you go back and there are a lot of videos in YouTube where you can learn Figma and XD from. So start learning those tools as well, right? And on week 7, week 7, we have a project, and that time we will require Figma or XD as a skill set. So start learning the tool as well. 3 points: unlearn everything about UX design, read the pre-reads very carefully, take notes, and start learning the tools. If you combine these things, then you will be able to take full advantage of this course. Okay, the most important thing, if somebody asks you which industry you belongs to, right? You might be able to answer this. Or if you are looking for a market, right? How big is the market? Where do we stand as a designer? Where are we? What we do? Or how much money is there in our industry, right? For that, you need to understand which industry you belongs to, right? So we belongs to the tech industry. 90% of all UX designer belongs to tech industry. 95% will belong to a tech industry, but there are separate design industry as well, okay, which is not related to tech, but that would be 35 to 10%, I think. Okay, so we belongs to the design industry, which is a subset of a tech industry. Okay, there's a beautiful quote on this. It said, "There's no place quite like the design industry. It's where creativity and technology meet, and where innovation thrives." Okay, so design industry is closely related with tech industry. All right. Okay, so you see tech everywhere, right? Tech industry, tech is everywhere. The one mobile in your hand is a tech, right? You have a water purifier in your home, that somehow in the background there's a tech. TV, there's a tech, right? Television, everything nowadays revolve around tech. All right, and who uses it? Humans are using it. Tech without human is useless, right? Just go back to 1920s, 1930s, when IBM used to create computers, and computers doesn't used to be this smaller, like the laptop which we have or the desktop which we have. It used to be like a full room, a machine full of machines, occupying the entire room. This big was the computer then, right? And humans were not able to use it, and hence those were not so useful. Okay, so how can we bring tech to humans and human to use this? Is by applying design there. So design is the bridge between the tech and the human. Okay, so tech industry is not complete without design industry, or design industry is incomplete without tech industry. So they are together. So if somebody asks you about what design you belongs to, what industry you belongs to, you can say design and as well as tech industry. Cool. Now career in UX. Why should we choose UX, right? What we can get out of UX? UX jobs are one of the highest in demand for now, right? As and when companies are realizing the value of UX, they're hiring more UX designer, right? Like of Apple's, Microsoft, Google, when they made their design system public, they are publicly telling the world that we are design centric. And when they are saying they are design centric, what does this mean to us as a designer? Is that there are a lot of scopes, there are a lot of scope now, right? It means that there are a lot of jobs coming in now there, right? Everyone are nowadays saying that we are becoming design driven, and the more they say it, the more jobs will be there, right? So UX designers are high in demand nowadays. Cool. Next, UX designers pay scales are among the top in the industry. You will get a good amount of as a pay. Now, do not expect this for an entry level designer, right? This might not they might not pay you that hike when you join as an entry level or a beginner. But down the line, when you have good experience, when you cover up good amount of work, then you will see your pay scales start increasing. Okay, so it does pay you good. The UX designers are paid well. And faster professional growth, right? As the companies are understanding the value of UX, the more UX designer they're hiring, right? The more UX designer they're hiring, the more there's an opportunity to lead the team, right? For example, if a company understands the value of UX now and they hire you now, right? Down the line, in just couple of months or year, they will hire some more people, because once you go inside the organization, you'll start creating value, and that's become tangible, right? The organization can map it and say, yes, design does really make sense to us. We should hire more designers. When they hire more designers, you, who's working there for a couple of years now, you will automatically be promoted as a leader, as a lead, right? Which is not possible in other function of the business, because their structure has been matured. All right, so UX designers can get faster growth in their professional life. This is why you should choose UX. Okay, so we have come to the fifth point now. What is the most common pitfall while preparing for the career in UX design, right? So we talked about the course structure. We talked about why you should choose UX, which industry it belongs to. Now, while you are preparing for all these things, while you're preparing to become a designer, what are the common things you should not do? What are the things which should not never ever do? All right. First thing is that you should not get trapped in the name and fame of design. When I say this, what I mean is I have seen a lot of aspirant who want to join design just for the name and shape of a name and fame the design brings in. I've seen people who have come to me and said, Bikash, I want to be in your team. But because they have seen from the glass doors that we are having fun. We are not having fun though. We are chit-chatting, we are talking, we're finding a solution for a problem. We will put the sticky notes, we'll do a lot of those activity, right? And the people in other department thinks like we're having fun, right? Designer tag itself is cool, right? So do not come for that. If you are dragged into this industry because of the name and fame, please rethink about it. All right, please rethink about it, because it is not so simple. You lost your sleep for weeks to find a solution. Sometimes happens that you go to you go for an interview, you speak with your customers, and their pain points are so deep that you will not sleep for many days. Okay, so it's very dirty as well. So do not just come for the name and fame of being a designer. Okay, this is one. I've seen people fail in becoming a great UX designer. The reason being they have come into design industry to earn the name or the fame. Okay, so do not do that. Next, I've seen a lot of aspirant designers, UX designers. They're focusing on the tools learning the Figma or XD, rather than focusing on the design mindset, rather than focusing on the um, problem solving mindset, right? So do not do that. That's the second reason why most of UX designers fail. Okay. Number 3 is working or living in silos. Do not work in silos. Do not do anything alone. All right. You have the huge community. You just post something in LinkedIn, or have someone, get connected with someone and start talking to them and just convey your message, right? Just tell them, I'm working on this project, or I am doing this. Can you help me? Can we collaborate together and do something great for, or do something for both of us, right? I'm working on this project. Can we collaborate and do it? Because if you're working alone, your thought process will be restricted. You are restricted towards whatever thinking you have. If you have somebody collaborating with you, you have got another mindset. You have got another brain working for that project, right? Be with the community. Wherever there's a community, go WhatsApp, Slack, LinkedIn groups. There are lot of communities are there. Just be a part of them. Interact with them, talk to them. Go for this kind of webinars where it's free. There lots of community are giving a lot of free contents available. Attend those classes, attend those webinars, seminars, right? And be a part of this community. Do not work alone. Do not work in silo, right? This is another common pitfall where most people fail to become a UX designer. Number 4 is the portfolio which you are making, right? You will one day, you started now, one day we have to create a portfolio for yourself, right? Your portfolio has to match your aspiration. For example, say we are working through all this week, right? We're learning a lot of things all this week, and then understanding every subsets of UX design, and then you like one out of that subset. For example, UI design, right? You like the UI design part of it, so you should focus only on the UI design for a certain time. I'm not saying you should focus every time, but certain time you should focus only on the UI part of it, right? Prepare portfolios in a way that it reflects your UI skills. Okay, so your portfolio should speak about your aspiration as to what you want to become. What do you like the most in UX design? You might be doing research, right? So your portfolio should talk about research part. Okay, this is where lots of portfolio gets rejected. I'm telling you upfront. And this is the first question we ask, right? When we see a portfolio, it is mismatched. We don't understand, looking at the prospectus, what are the aspiration of this designer is, right? From top to bottom, it is just that simple process, case study, everyone follows. We have a problem statement, we have the process, and then the solution in a very zazzy UI design. But what are the aspiration? How should I know whether this person do really like the research, or do really like the user interface part of the design, or does he like the solution space? Does he like to do a lot of interviews? What does he like a lot, or he or she likes a lot? That has to be properly conveyed in the portfolio. All right, so these are the 4 pitfalls you should not do, right? You should not never do any of this, and success will be yours. Okay, so we have concluded week 1 a live session. Concluding this, I've covered the 5 things which we are supposed to talk about today. I will open up this for questions. I'll check out all the questions and we'll try to answer those questions as long as possible. Next week, which is very important now, okay? So next week, we're going to talk about what is design. This week, it was pretty small. We have just talked about 45 minutes. But next week, I think if I have to explain what is design, so I'm going deep inside by trying to explain you what design is and how does design come into existence. We'll talk about the history of design. We'll talk about every aspects of design. We'll talk about all the designer types as well. So huge, the content is huge there. So it's going to take a lot of time. I think next week it's going to be 1.5 hours session. But that's what for next week is. All right, so I will move into Q&A now. Let's see what questions are there. If you haven't posted a question, you can post it now, and I will start answering those questions as well.